Hey there. When you look at the business world, it can feel like this huge, chaotic puzzle, right? You've got everything from the little coffee shop on the corner to these massive global tech companies. But what if I told you there's a surprisingly simple way to make sense of it all? Let's jump in and get you a brand new lens to see how every single business fits together.
Okay, I know. It sounds like the beginning of a really weird joke. A coal mine, all dusty and industrial, and a TikTok creator, busy making their next viral hit. I mean, they couldn't seem more different. But believe it or not, they're both businesses. And by the time we're done here, you'll see exactly how they fit into the very same economic picture. The secret? It's all in how we classify them.
So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to use a four-level framework. Think of it like we're zooming in on Google Maps. We'll start way out with the 30,000-foot view of the big economic sectors. Then we'll zoom in a bit to see what's happening inside a single company. After that, we'll check out its size. And finally, we're going to zoom all the way in to see who's actually calling the shots. All right, let's start with that widest view, economic sectors. This isn't about looking at just one business. Nope. This is about understanding where every business fits in the entire economic food chain. From literally pulling stuff out of the ground to making top-level, world-changing decisions. The easiest way to think about it is like a production line. It all begins with the primary sector. These are the businesses that get raw materials straight from the earth. We're talking farming, mining, fishing, that kind of stuff. Then you have the secondary sector. They take all those raw materials and actually make things out of them. Think car factories, construction sites, you get the idea. And finally, there's the tertiary sector, which provides services instead of physical goods. This is your retail store, your doctor's office, your bank. But of course, our world's gotten a little more complex. The idea of services has really evolved, and that brings us to the quaternary sector, which is basically the knowledge economy. This is all about information, about expertise. Companies in IT, in research and development, in consulting, they're not just doing a task for you, they are literally selling pure knowledge. And then, sitting at the very, very top of this whole pyramid, you'll find the Quinary Sector. This is where the big-time decision makers live. We're talking about CEOs of major corporations, top government leaders, heads of universities. Their product isn't a physical thing or a simple service. It's the huge strategic decisions that can shape entire industries and even all of society. So let's put it all together real quick. You've got the primary sector getting the raw materials, all the way up to the quinary sector making the highest level calls. The whole economic system is laid out right here. And this gets us back to that first question. So, the coal mine? That's classic primary sector. And that TikTok influencer? Well, they're providing an entertainment service, which puts them right in the tertiary and maybe even the quaternary sector. See? It all fits. Okay, so we've got the big picture down. Now, let's zoom in from that huge landscape and peek inside a single company. What are the key parts, the essential functions that make any business tick, whether it's digging for coal or making videos? Every single business is kind of like an engine, right? And these core functions are the gears that have to work together perfectly. If just one of those gears breaks down or stops turning, the whole machine can just grind to a halt. Doesn't matter if you're selling software or sandwiches, these things are always happening behind the scenes. Let's just run through them. You've got production. They're the ones making the thing. Marketing has to go out and sell it. Finance keeps track of all the money. Human resources looks after the people. R&D is busy dreaming up what's next. And purchasing makes sure everyone has the supplies they need to do their jobs. Every single gear is crucial. All right, so now we know where a business fits in the economy and how it works on the inside. So let's add our third layer, its size. I mean, are we talking about a little local shop, or are we dealing with a massive global giant? And believe me, scale really matters. On one end of the spectrum, you have your small-scale businesses. Think of your favorite neighborhood bakery. In the middle, you have medium-scale operations, like maybe a regional chain of grocery stores. And then, way over on the other end, you've got the large-scale behemoths with a global footprint, like a Google or a Coca-Cola. We've made it to our final, most detailed level of zoom. We know a business's sector, we know its internal parts, and we know its size. But there's one last critical question to answer. Who actually runs the show? Who owns this thing? The simplest ways to own a business are all about how many people are involved. A sole proprietorship is pretty much a one-person show. You own it, you run it, you get all the profits. But you also take on all the risk. A partnership is pretty similar, but it's owned by a team. Two or more people who've agreed to share the work, the rewards, and the responsibilities. Now here's where things get really interesting, and it all comes down to one hugely important word: liability. For sole proprietors and partnerships, there's no legal difference between the owner and the business itself. So if the business goes under, your personal stuff, your house, your car, could be at risk. That is a terrifying thought, and that's exactly why structures like the LLC and the corporation were invented. They basically create a legal shield between the business's finances and your personal finances. For anyone wanting to start a business, this is an absolute game changer. And of course, there are other models out there too. You've got cooperatives, which are owned and operated by their own members. Think of a local credit union. And then there are public sector enterprises, which are owned by the government itself, like the U.S. Postal Service. So there we have it. We've gone from the 30,000-foot view all the way down to the nitty-gritty legal details. Now let's zoom all the way back out and talk about why putting these pieces together gives you a really powerful new way to see the world.
Think of this whole framework as a new pair of glasses for looking at the economy. It helps you see the actual structure of how everything works. It makes it super clear what role each and every business plays. And it reveals all those invisible factors, from legal stuff to market size, that shape how a company operates day in and day out.
So I've got a little challenge for you. The next time you're walking into a store or using an app on your phone or just see a company's truck drive by, try to classify it. Ask yourself, what sector is that? Is it small, medium, or large, and who owns it? Because once you start using this framework, you're not just a customer or an employee anymore. You're an analyst, someone who truly understands the business landscape that's all around us.